So ladies and gents, welcome to this very first presentation, very first vlog on cookery from Windsor. My name is Luca. I've been based out here for the last 23 years. It's a beautiful day today, glorious weather. We've been lucky to have this weather for the past week or so, which is quite exceptional for Britain. And I decided to do this little food presentation from the garden. So what I'm going to show you today, assisted by my lady up there, she's very nosy, Lady Amber of Windsor. What I'm going to show you today is how to make a very good quality Roman base or thin crust base pizza on your own barbecues, home barbecues. All you need is a baking stone. They're not particularly expensive, very simple equipment and utensils. I'll cover all of those, we'll run through them. So I will aim at dividing the little presentation into three sections. So I will cover utensils, ingredients, which is the most important part perhaps, and then show you how to flatten a pizza base prior to the pizza base being shifted onto a pizza peel, and then for the final process of baking it on a baking stone in a conventional barbecue. The barbecue will have to have a lid, I'm afraid, so if you use coal barbecues with no lid, this presentation is no good to you. But yeah, let's go and do it. Let's go bake and have fun. We've had enough of bad news lately over COVID and deaths and lockdowns and all of that. It's about time we spend 10 minutes doing something useful, something fun, cooking. So here we are, ready to make pizza. I have prepared a garden table with all the ingredients that we'll need and the utensils as well. I'll go and cover everything. I don't know whether it was a good idea to actually cook in the garden today, because although the weather is beautiful, the sky is absolutely crystal clear, but it is a little bit breezy, and the table is set right under a massive hornbeam tree, which is dropping little bits of, I don't know what it is, pollen, flowers, leaves, and occasionally I do get little bits of stuff falling onto the table, but it is what it is. It's nice to be outside. So first of all, let me guide you through the utensils that I'm going to be using, just to make your life easier when you attempt at making pizzas in your own gardens. And then I'll guide you through the ingredients as well. And then I will put a pizza together and we'll bake one and show you how it's all done. So bear with me and I'll show you all. So here we are. My lady, as you can see, still around. She's not being particularly useful, but let me guide you through all the utensils and ingredients as I promised. The flour is incredibly important, as you can imagine. I do tend to like this brand, which is originally from Naples, where the pizza originated from. It is a 00 flour, which is, where is it written? There we go. Farina di grano tenero tipo 00, which is exactly what you want for baking pizza. I have used this one today, which is a very, very similar, it's from the same brand, it's a very similar type of flour, still a 00. And then this one is new. I actually purchased this today, so a bit windy, sorry. Purchased this today on recommendation from the gentleman that runs a really nice Italian supermarket in Maidenhead. So if you're watching this from the Berkshire area, you may want to go and check that supermarket out. It's called the Italian Continental Store in Maidenhead. I believe it's Denmark Road. But yeah, and then I've got this one, which is semolina or farina di semola rimacinata. This is really important because it will help you to prevent that the pizza base will stick on the pizza peel, and I will show you how to use that in a minute. So then obviously I've got garlic, tomatoes, and I've got chopped tomatoes, tomato sauce, and this one, as far as I'm concerned, this is possibly the best tomatoes you can find on the market. It's San Marzano tomato is a variety, and they come from this Agro Sarnese Nocerino, which is an Italian region based in between, I believe, Naples and, oh gosh, what's the other city? I can't remember. Might say, no, never mind. So, and then I've got a little bowl to prepare the sauce, the tomato sauce, and then I've got I've got a garlic press. got a little scale. I'm not going to use this today because I have already prepared the pizza dough. And then I've got a rolling pin. Let me come round the table onto this other side. Okay, this is what you definitely need. It's a little measuring jug for when you prepare the pizza dough. And then this is the yeast that I've actually used today. It's very commonly found here in Britain. It's dry yeast, but it's the fast acting yeast, so you can actually mix it with the flour at the time you add the water and the salt. If you purchase a slow acting yeast, then what you want to do is mix the yeast powder with the water first at room temperature, or sort of lukewarm water. Mix it, let it rest for 15 minutes, and then add it into the flour. In the dough, I also use a tiny little bit of sugar, and I would say about a teaspoonful. So then we've got obviously cloths, because I'm cooking in the garden. Preparing this in the garden, your hands will get covered in flour. I haven't got access to a kitchen sink over here. I've got rocket salad just to decorate the pizza at the very end, and parmesan, mozzarella, mushrooms. My favorite mushrooms for pizza are oh gosh, these are called forestier or chestnuts. That's it, chestnut mushrooms. And I tend to slice them really thinly, but they're paper thin. I don't know if you can see. And then yeah, mozzarella. It is buffalo mozzarella today. You can do it with standard mozzarella from cow's milk. And then I've got here we go. I've got a little flour spreader, which is really useful for spreading the flour onto the table. And then I've got some, oh, the salt has gone again. And then I've got some semolina flour, and I will be using this on a pizza peel just to prevent that when I transfer the pizza over onto the peel before decorating it, the dough sticks onto the wood. And don't forget that the dough tends to be a bit wet and sticky. Let me grab this box of salt. Here we go. That's the salt that I tend to use. It's Malden, it's original sea salt flakes. Of course, it's a by appointment to the Queen and nothing less. And that's it. Olive oil. I was talking about olive oil. So I would make the tomato sauce with a pinch of salt, a pinch of pepper, fresh pepper, and then some oil. Now I'm going to use some commercial extra virgin olive oil for the sauce, because during the cooking process the actual flavors of the oils will change. And then I will add some extra virgin, this is really high-end single estate extra virgin olive oil as a drizzle once the product is finished, the pizza's coming out of the barbecue. So other than that, let me try and fix this camera in some position so that I can start preparing the pizza in front of you, and then we'll bake it together. Just give me a second and I'll set all up. So here we go. Let's get the dough out of the way. Gosh, these little bits from the trays that I was telling you about. What we want to do is scatter a generous amount of flour on top of the worktop. Now, on a kitchen top, of course, if you've got granite, so you've got some wood, every working surface is absolutely fine. But what I'm doing here, I'm using a silicon mat, so I'm using an extra amount of flour today because I didn't want the flour to get into there's a little crack on the table, there's a glass top and a metal, what you call a support or ridge or edge, the frame, that's the word that I was looking at. So what we're going to do is scoop the flour, and I'm using a silicon spatula so it bends quite easily around the edges of the metal bowl that I've used to let it rise. And you turn it, it's quite elastic, so I'm quite happy about it. So I said it's being kept in here for about 3 hours using fast acting yeast in a powder. Let's put this away. Now you want to scatter plenty of flour because it's really sticky, it's a moist kind of product, so that's a tricky thing about preparing pizza dough at home. And here we go, let's put some extra flour on top. We're going to split this in two little pizza balls because there's plenty. I used 200 grams of flour with 175 mils of water. Try to use bottled water because a lot of water systems contain chlorine, and that would quite often kill off the yeast. So that's it. We can split it into, I should have taken maybe a knife from the kitchen. Here we go. So we put one aside. We're going to be working on one of the two pizza doughs. So here we go. Now what we're going to do is use some extra flour and start flattening it with your fingers, and keep adding generous amounts of flours around it and on top of it, because that thing will seriously stick. It is quite a messy job, this. You can hand stretch a pizza. I normally hand stretch it, like I was saying earlier on, when I use the sourdough starter. But today, for practical reasons, I will be using rolling pin. So here we go. You will notice that on occasions the dough will stick to the rolling pin. All you do, you just add some extra flour and you keep working on it. You flatten it and you do it quite thinly. This is what we want to do. A Romana based pizza, thin crust pizza, which is beautiful, and it's lighter actually than some pizzas they make in the north of Italy. I think around the Genoa area they make some quite thick pizza, which is probably a nice taste, but too heavy for my liking. Anyway, let's get this done. The barbecue in the meantime is on. It's been heating for about 10 minutes, I would say, on maximum heat. The baking stone is on right in the middle, so the air flows around very freely. Nearly there. It's not perfectly round, but unfortunately it's the very first time that I actually bake out in the garden, and this is lower than a kitchen top, plus you're filming, so it's not the easiest of all things, but we'll get there. It'll be a very nice pizza, I'm sure. And the pizza that I'm going to do today is actually a mushroom and a mozzarella pizza, so it's a vegetarian option. A lot of you can have it. It's got no meat or pork products on it, so I'm pretty sure that it's religious proof pizza. Toppings that you can put on your home-based pizza are just endless, basically. Just please don't use a bat on it, because we've had enough of people eating bats and sparking a pandemic. So here we go. Now what we want to do, which is something that I was telling you about earlier on, is take some semolina flour and scatter, God, it's a bit windy today, scatter some semolina flour on top of the pizza peel. In doing so, when you go and transfer the pizza from, I can see little Amber walking around the table thinking, what is Luca doing today? Once you transfer over your pizza, there we go, so telling you about earlier on. Oh, well, the wind is doing everything for me today. So what we're going to do is transfer the pizza base onto the pizza peel very gently, and the semolina flour will prevent the pizza from sticking onto the pizza peel. At this stage we can start adding the toppings, and I will show you how to do that in a second. So we're going to leave this one here. So here we go. This is the time to add our toppings to the pizza base. I'm starting with the tomato sauce. I've added the Mutti tomato sauce. It's absolutely amazing, chopped tomatoes. And I've added some garlic. If you are allergic to garlic, some people just don't get on with what they're called FODMAP ingredients apparently, so they can't digest them, and then you start burping, which isn't exactly the nicest thing, especially if you're accompanied by a guest. But so let's start with this, and you put quite a generous amount of tomato sauce. That's it, that should be enough, and then you start scattering it around. Make sure that it's evenly spread. Might need a little bit more actually. Make sure that it's evenly spread. Bear in mind that I have never done a course as a pizza chef, as a pizzaiolo. There are some in Naples apparently you can do, and I might one day, because it is a bit of an art preparing pizza. For any of you, particularly the Italians, se ci sono degli italiani lì fuori che mi vogliono dare qualche consiglio per come preparare questa pizza in una maniera ancora più semplice di quella che ho preparato oggi in giardino, scrivete pure nei commenti, cercate di non essere villani e volgari e non ci facciamo riconoscere, ok? And so here we go, we're nearly there. I might actually need a tiny little bit more. You know, it's so much easier to do it on a kitchen top, I've got to say, and especially when you're not filming. So the other trick, try not to get the tomato sauce to run right to the edge, because during the cooking process it'll liquefy alongside the cheeses and everything else, and then it will start dripping onto the baking stone. That looks okay. And then make a mess. So what we're going to do is, I tend to take a little bit of Parmesan cheese, scatter it all around the edges first, and that will enhance the taste, the flavor of the cheese, because mozzarella cheese is really quite light. So that's it, not too much. Voila. And then we'll put some of these, well, the whole bowl actually, these beautiful chestnut mushrooms. And the very, very final touch will be decorating the pizza with some peppery rocket salad, which I really love. It's got quite a strong flavor, and it actually looks beautiful on the pizza. So I'm going to scatter that, and then of course the extra virgin olive oil that I was telling you about, which is beautiful, and the flavor is incredible. Not the commercial one. So you use the commercial olive oil to prepare the pizza sauce in this tomato. That's it. That looks like they've been fairly evenly scattered. We've got about 10 minutes of time to actually work on adding the toppings before the dough will start sticking. And then finally we put some, I'm using buffalo mozzarella today, but you can use more commercial mozzarella. There's a big brand called Galbani. They're pretty good. It's obviously cow's milk mozzarella. The buffalo is really delicate. I would say actually sometimes it's a bit wasted on pizza because it is twice as expensive as the regular mozzarella, but there you go. You know, we only live once, so why not? It's pretty unusual for me actually to prepare food without a glass of wine at hand. That's really, I suppose, because it's the filming involved and I didn't want to offend any non-drinkers. But believe you me, as soon as this is out of the barbecue, I will more than likely have a bottle. So here we go. Now, this is just perfect as it is. Let's go and put it onto the baking stone. And here we are, ready to bake. This is how it looks like. It is a thin based pizza, Romana base. This is a tricky bit. So that's the baking stone that I was telling you about. It's all stained because I've been using this for years and years. I purchased it in Chicago actually, getting really bored walking down a Michigan Avenue. So you shake it very gently and you can see that the pizza started moving around the pizza peel. And then once you know that it's not sticking, very, very gently, always shaking the pizza peel, you let it rest on the baking stone. That's it. I made quite a large pizza today actually, because normally it fits in perfectly, but there we go. We'll leave it there to rest for about 8 to 10 minutes. It's very high temperature in there, and I will show you what's going to look like probably in about 5 minutes or so, because what I'm going to do, I've got this spatula, and I might have to turn it a little bit. You will find that sometimes the pizza burns slightly at the top and at the bottom, and as it cooks at normal in normal times and the edges, and if you just flip it around, because it is right at the edge of the baking stone, then you'll achieve the perfect cooking for your barbecued pizza. But I shall see you shortly. And that's it. This is about 8 minutes from the moment I put the pizza in. I believe that we're ready to take it out. So I need usual spatula. Let's get this up. Absolutely amazing. Switch the barbecue off, and we're going to shift the pizza. Look at the color, how it's bubbling, and the crust, it's a thin crust. So the flour is really important, and sorry, may not be centered. Been pestered by everything today, planes and leaves falling off the trees. There we go. So what we're going to do now is, let's come to the table. Here we go. Let me check it's here we go. Perfect. All we're going to do is just top it up with a little bit of rocket salad. Here we go. I love rocket salad because it's quite peppery in taste and flavor. By the way, the pizza, you can tell, is not perfectly round, but that's the whole artisan's idea of making your own. So and you learn, you know. Usually when I do them in the kitchen, they are perfectly round, but the fact that I was filming, like I said. And then we're going to use some really good quality extra virgin olive oil and drizzle a fair bit of it on top. And I'm absolutely starving. You should smell its perfume. This isn't, it's better than Chanel No. 5. Absolutely amazing. Let me show you what it looks like. Here we go. Might change the light a bit. Here we go. Well guys, now I am going to love you and leave you because I need to pour a glass of wine. I hope you've enjoyed this little tutorial of how to make pizza at home on your barbecue. It's not been the easiest thing being the first vlog, but I might try and do another one. Maybe show you how to make pasta with vongole, clam sauce pasta, which is equally beautiful. So you take care of yourselves, keep safe, and I'll be back on this channel in the shortest possible time. Bye. So how amatorial was that? I was going to leave you and I said my goodbye without even showing you and proving how crispy this thing is. This is the pizza that has just come out of the barbecue, perfectly cooked. The crispiness, you have to listen to this. Absolutely amazing. Now you look after yourselves and I'll be back soon. All the best.